Hi guys, so my name is Xu Jie Chen. The video is for the TA certificate for purpose, maybe for the diploma as well. So today in our course we are going to teach you the braking system component called master cylinder. And can you shut the door for me please? And then in this video, it's very good for demonstrate the principle of how the master cylinder working. Okay, so after watching the video, just only about 7 minutes something, 5 minutes only. So after watching that, we will go through it. If you have question or have any problem, let me know, and I can go through it. Okay. So now we start watching it.
An automatic brake system is designed to slow or stop the momentum of the vehicle. Welcome to Automate. Hi, I'm Tony. In this module, we'll look at the operation and construction of the brake master cylinder that we see in today's vehicles. Since the mid-1960s, federal laws require that all cars must operate a dual brake system. So if one system fails, the other would provide enough force to safely stop the vehicle. To achieve this, the tandem master cylinder was introduced with two separate pistons, each applying hydraulic pressure to two wheels. The primary piston assembly has a seal located in a machine groove at the front and a secondary cup or O-ring at the rear. The secondary piston has two primary seals located in grooves, one facing forward and one facing rear. Return springs are used to push the pistons back to their rest position when the brake pedal is released. The fluid reservoir can be cast into the body of the master cylinder or be a separate moulded plastic container. All reservoirs have a removable cover so that brake fluid can be added to the system. To prevent moisture and air entering the system, a flexible rubber diaphragm is located under the cap. A vent hole is used to allow atmospheric pressure to move the rubber diaphragm in response to changes in fluid level. Ports are used to allow the flow of brake fluid within the system. They are often named differently but serve the same purpose. There are two outlet ports on a tandem master cylinder, a primary and a secondary. These are connected to each brake circuit via a pipe. There are two internal ports per brake circuit. They are known as compensating or vent ports and inlet or replenishing ports. The compensating ports are in front of the piston seals and allow brake fluid to flow from the reservoir to the brake circuit chamber. The inlet ports are located behind the primary seals and allow fluid to flow to and from the reservoir. Fluid flows through the compensating port into the brake pressure chamber in both the primary and secondary circuits. When the driver depresses the brake pedal, the pushrod moves the primary piston forward, covering the compensating port. This action traps the fluid in the circuit chamber, creating pressure and forcing fluid to the wheel brake units. The fluid pressure created in front of the primary piston acts against the rear of the secondary piston and moves it forward. As the secondary piston covers its compensating port, pressure starts to build in that circuit, forcing fluid through the outlet port to the wheel brake units. Further movement of the brake pedal increases the pressure in both the primary and secondary circuits and starts to apply the brakes at the wheels. When the driver releases the brake pedal, the return spring moves the pistons back to their stationary position. As the primary seal uncovers the compensating ports, fluid returns to the reservoir. Often when the pedal is released quickly, a low pressure is created in front of the piston, so that momentarily the pressure in the reservoir is higher than the pressure in the cylinder. Small holes in the pistons and grooves formed in the seal allow flow from the reservoir through the inlet port and past the primary seals into the pressure chamber. This keeps the pressure chamber full of fluid at all times. This process is called recuperating. The tandem master cylinder is designed to always provide brake pressure in at least one circuit for emergency stopping, if there is ever a failure in the other. If there is a failure in the secondary brake circuit, its piston will bottom. The primary piston will travel further down the bore and provide braking pressure to its circuit. If the primary circuit fails, its piston will move until the piston rod contacts the secondary piston. The secondary piston will now be operated mechanically to provide braking pressure to its particular circuit. The dual brake system can be arranged in two different ways, a front-rear split or a diagonally split system. The diagonally split system has an advantage over the front-rear split. A diagonally split system allows one front wheel and the opposite rear wheel to apply the brakes in the event of a hydraulic failure in one of the brake circuits. This opposite wheel braking effect provides vehicle stability and 50% of the braking force to the remaining circuit. Understanding the construction and operation of the brake master cylinder is crucial when trying to diagnose a brake problem. Remember, when it comes to technique.
Alright, so anyone have a question about the video? No? So we just quickly go through some concept for this video, okay? Because it's quite important. The master cylinder is very important component in the braking system, okay? So first thing we're going to guide you through is the system. There have two kind of this system being introduced into there. That is why the master cylinder, you have a primary chamber and a secondary chamber, just because our system has been split. In this one, you show here the green is rear, the front is red. It's been split into two sections. That's what we call front-rear split system. Why is that? Is if we say the green one is primary system, secondary is the red system. If there is anything leaking on the system anywhere, the tube or rubber tube or even the metal or anywhere is leaking, then it will all fail. Imagine if we only have the whole car only have one system and everywhere, anywhere it's got leaking, all the effort you brake here will be come out from that one, from the leaking point. So you will lose totally all of the completely force. So that means you will not have any brake at all. That is why they split into the two systems. This one, in this case, front and rear, they divide front wheel and rear wheel. It's okay. So that means if here is leaking, you just only lose the front brake, but you will still have a brake force from the back. Alright? So another one is called diagonally split system.
Cross.
Yeah, it's like cross type. See this here. Alright, so you can see it's been split to the left hand side rear and right hand side front is the red one. Green one is left hand side front and right hand side rear. So why they design in this system, it have some advantage than the front rear split system. In this case, the same thing, if we are talking about the left hand side front, this one here, it's got a leaking. So this wheel and the right hand side rear will lose brake at all. In this case, the right hand side front, left hand side rear will still have a braking system there. You will say, why is gonna make it different between the two systems?
Because it only loses 50% of the braking power.
They are pretty much all the same, 50% left, because you lose half.
Front and rear, they only got certain pressure, if I'm not wrong, from the last video.
Normally front have a big brake force. That is why this one you have still have a front. At least you make sure you have one in the front, one in the back.
One in the
And in diagonally, the main thing is they make it diagonally is because they want to increase the stability. Imagine if less is just only the front and the rear type split, you lose the front, you only have back. But when you are in emergency, you apply the brake, what's gonna happen? The wheel will spin. You are out of control. But if it last is a diagonally split, you lose one side. You still have a right hand side front and left hand side rear. Then one is in front, one in the back. So it will be not less chance to be locked up at the same time. So now make sure you can brake the car stably. Alright? This is a concept. And then this is a master cylinder. This is what we call a primary chamber. This is a secondary one. In this type, the primary is our inlet. All our inlet is from here. The inside. The inlet is actually all from the reservoir. Alright? And in the primary one, it goes to this pipe and this pipe. Two different wheels. And secondary, they drive another two pipe, another two wheels. That is how it's designed. That is why it's split into two. That's why we call it split. Alright? So, why, if any outlet is leaking, our pipe leaking, you will make the chamber hole not working. That is a principle, our Pascal principle. If you apply the fluid, you will go to the easiest way. Right? It need to be enclosed space. But enough, if it's leaking, that means it's not an enclosed space anymore. Alright, you will go to the easiest way there to make all the fluid come out from here. So you will lose the brake if the chamber is failed. So any idea what is the raised stuff inside here?
To push the secondary.
To push the secondary one, right?
Yeah.
But we remember it's actually not for normal use. This one, the push rod here, is actually normally when you push from the primary cylinder to the secondary cylinder, it's actually not being driven by this push rod.
Driven by
It's-
pressure.
It's been pushed by the brake fluid here. So this one, the blue stuff here, is actually for our brake fluid. It is supposed to be the same color, orange one, to fill in here, but maybe it doesn't want to confuse you. It want to make you more clear. That is why it's still clear here. But inside this chamber, and then this chamber is supposed to be for our brake fluid. Okay. So normally when you apply the push rod here, the brake is supposed to push here, being driven by the fluid. So fluid is pushing the secondary piston as well. Now by the mechanically one, the push rod. But why it's still designed here is because what I told you, if the leaking is from the primary system here, we say this pipe is leaking.
No brake.
This one leaking. So all the brake fluid when you apply here, you will go to here. So you will actually not go to push the secondary piston. In that case, you will lose your secondary pressure too. That is why you design another push rod in case if this one failure, you will still can use this one. Alright, that is why you have an inlay here to make it all different, separate.
But the tank is separate.
The tank was separate. Normally, it's supposed to have another separate unit here in the middle. So if this one, we say this one fell, half our reservoir will be gone.
Yeah.
But now we still have another half to do the secondary one. Alright? So, question, why here have one push rod but secondary doesn't have any? Simple.
It's only two chamber.
Because it doesn't need to push anything.
Yeah.
So the question come back to here. If the leaking is come out from the secondary one, so you can imagine here no fluid at all. So what's gonna happen?
required to
Yeah, it doesn't have a, it will not have any brake force, whatever you push it. So that is why even if you don't have a rod, it doesn't matter. Because it doesn't need to drive in another third one. Alright, it doesn't need to go to the back, go to the end. So in that case, the front will still have the brake. Alright, so the brake will still be, brake force will still be provided from here to another two wheel here. So that is the management for the master cylinder.
In case there is leaking in any of the hose, how long you gonna, I mean, how long you gonna let them be, or before you gonna change it? The lifespan of the,
you lose speed.
no, I mean, you won't notice if you have lost your brake and
Yeah.
you're gonna keep driving until you're reaching somewhere point that you're gonna need mechanic.
Yeah, normally the kind of thing, it will happen instantly.
It happen.
Instantly. Because wherever you leak in, where's the point for you to leak out the brake fluid? It means you might get air from there as well. Yeah, so if the air come in, the air will be compressed. So all the brake force will become compressed in the air, make it smaller only, but it doesn't push the piston.
So how long is the time limit for?
It depends on how big is the leak. Yeah, if we say normally for the brake system fail, in the reality, what I've experienced is the rubber hose. Because normally when they from master cylinder travel to four wheel, it's all made by the metal tube most of the time. But because of the wheel need to move it up and down, so it become rubber at the end section. That is why we call rubber hose, brake high pressure hose. Because it's made by rubber, so when by the time gone, you become grumble, crack, right? So, and it's actually all the joints, couplers being compressed, so it's normally can be that worn out or leaking from there. And sometimes it fail, it's not because of its age, it's wear, it's just because of the mechanic doesn't have the knowledge. For example, when you change the brake pad, you remove the brake caliper out, right? So when we imagine this is a caliper, this is a router, you take it off, you hang it on the side. When you put them back in, it's supposed to be like that, isn't it? Some mechanical apprentices, they doesn't know, they just say, okay, I drop it off, they just hang it here. Then you say, I want to take it, so you get this one here. What's gonna happen? The rubber hose is being cleaned. I've seen that before. It will be pretty bad because that means you will disturb the brake force going to the brake caliper, and then you will have a big chance of causing the hose to be cleaned and broken. Alright, so that is the thing for the question, and that's a very good question. So if you feel like your brake force is not, it's even just a little slightly different than before, than it used to be, you have to check it straight away. But if that kind of thing happen in the workshop, what you need to do is to just check up the car, before check out, you check the reservoir first to make sure there is fluid inside. Sometimes because of fluid is suddenly leaking bit by bit, and just air coming. It could be, but less chance. And then check up the whole car and just inspect the rubber thing, because normally happen on rubber things or the wheel cylinder. Wheel cylinder was being used for brake drum. So if you only inspect that one, you take the whole brake drum. Or sometimes if it leaking too much, you can even see from the side, you can see it's wet by the oil. So that is how we check for the visual check. If you saw that, you want to confirm, you need to dismantle. Check out the wheel, scan out the drum to see if it's leaking. Okay? Then that's the concept and yeah. What he mentioned here is it doesn't show us up. It's normally here we'll have a sensor here too. This sensor is what we call reservoir, the fluid level sensor. It detects if the level is lower than a certain point or is supposed to be detect, you will make the circuit short. So you will have a dash light on. The red warning light will be on. In some modern car, you will become yellow one. Yellow modern, a yellow symbol on the dash. You will light on and say, oh, something wrong there, you need to check. Alright. So conventional car will share with a handbrake, the red brake indicator. It's the same one. Or one day we say it's one day. Because recently there's a car happened. It's no problem at all, but next day the car cannot start. There's actually a rat is chewing the cable, then the car cannot start. So it could happen on the brake system too. If you have a rat or something damage your brake and you don't know. So
For modern car.
so when you start an engine, that's why the dashboard will show up. When you start an engine, you release the handbrake and the red light is still on, then don't drive it. Because you better check it straight away, see what happened. So you just outside see, oh, the tire is here, any leak in there. Because if it hose is been destroyed or snapped, you will see the sign come out from four wheel. If the four wheel one out of its way, you can say, oh God, it must be something wrong here. Then you have to get it whole or something for further repair. Okay? So this is the thing that we are going to do the practical tomorrow. Alright? So tomorrow we will need to remove the things.
Oh, not from the car.
No, yeah, from the power side we're going to do. And another question is, how can you know your car is a diagonally split system or a front rear split system? Any idea? How can you know?
From the hose.
Yeah. The first thing is easy. You call the manufacturer, tell them your car detail, then they will say, okay, they will tell you, because that's what they made. Right? So they can tell you. The second thing is you can check from the hose where is this pipe goes and this pipe goes, and you will know is if this both of them goes to the rear wheel, then you know it's front rear split. If one of them go to front, one of them go to the back, then you know. Some of the master cylinder they only have two tubes. It doesn't mean okay, it only go to two wheel. No. It actually coming out one, and then it goes somewhere, it goes split to two. So in that case, you can check, oh, where's the pipe go? Just like a detector, oh, you see it, oh, you will know. Then that should be pretty much for the day. And also tomorrow, the practical things, I need to give you a reminder is to remove the master cylinder. We will have to remove all the tube as well. The tube itself is very easy to undo it, to remove it, but it is very high risky to put it back up because the thread will be easy to be damaged. If you don't know how to line it, you just put it back in. If you're like, oh yeah, that's the right one, you open it, spanner, crack it, it's gonna be gone. Master cylinder is not cheap. Alright, so if you damage that one and it's not repairable, then you probably need to change the tube. Alright? And then the master cylinder. But you don't want to do that. So tomorrow, when you want to disassemble the tube, you can use the open end to disassemble. Disassemble normally no problem. Oh, maybe for you guys still a problem because you need to know the direction to undo it. So what is the direction to undo the ball normally in the car? Anti-clockwise, right? So if you know this principle, it's no problem for tomorrow job. If you do in wrong direction, it's gonna be cracked, the same thing. No good. But to put it back on, it's gonna be a big issue. Alright? So thank you very much for today. So that's a lesson today. So